Dun, 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 dun. Wildflower, you cannot hurt me anymore. You cannot hurt me anymore. You can't make me watch this movie anymore. I'm never watching this movie anymore. Bam. So today we're reviewing the 1994 film Street Fighter, the movie, which is like, holy crap, this movie is like almost 30 years old. I feel so old. Oh my god. So yeah, this is the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, video game movie, which was co-produced by Capcom. It's an hour and 42 minutes, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile, Raul Julia as General M. Bison, Ming-Na Wen as Chun-Li, Kylie Minogue as Cammy, Damian Chapa as Ken Masters, Brian Mann as Ryu, and they're not showing me the rest of the cast. But you had like Wes Studi as like Sagat. See if they show me the rest of it. No, they're not showing me the rest of the cast. So, yeah, this is one of the worst video game movies of all time. Though, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this movie, though it's terrible, it is keynote in the respect that it is dumpster fire that you can't help but watch. It's like this is like the Independence Day of like video game movies, where Independence Day is like the best worst like alien invasion disaster movie. This is like the best worst video game movie, right? So the plot of the movie, if you can even call that, is basically they did so much coke in the set of this movie, they made a G.I. Joe movie instead of a Street Fighter film. That's basically this movie is G.I. Joe, okay? We don't really need to go into any more detail than that. I know people say that the movie is accurate to the movie's plot is accurate to the video games. I wouldn't fucking know, because the video game has no story mode. So unless you got like the cartridge with the booklet where it has the story, who the fuck knows what the story is, right? The story is like you're in a tournament fighting fighters from around the world, right? Oh my god. Alright. So, yeah. I actually did a review for this movie last year, but it's very fucking hard to review bad movies, because it's like, where the fuck do you even start, man? This is why I'm not one of those critics who only reviews shit like he likes, but when you review shit that's fucking dumpster fire bad, it's like, what the fuck, man? By the way, the comment I made about them doing so much coke, allegedly Jean-Claude Van Damme said that he did like a lot of coke with the Kylie Minogue, who's one of my favorite pop stars, who plays Cammy in this film, and they did a lot of coke together in their trailer. Okay. Which weren't Jean-Claude, weren't you married at the time? Which Jean-Claude Van Damme allegedly also turned down Mortal fucking Kombat to be in this movie, right? Which I don't know who he would have played in Mortal Kombat, but knowing what I know about video game history, and that Johnny Cage is somewhat based off Jean-Claude Van Damme, I'm assuming he would have played Johnny Cage. Which, holy fuck, I don't know if we were spared. Like, I don't know if we got lucky or we missed out. Because if we had missed out, or if we had got lucky, then we wouldn't have this, right? This beautiful piece of shit. Oh my god. Which, one more fact, Raul Julia died the year this movie came out. He actually died before the movie came out, and apparently he only did this movie because he said because his kids or whatever. That's what I hear. But since the man was dying of cancer or whatever, I assumed he did this movie to get to help out his family. To make sorry to bring the movie review into a somber note, but somber note. But holy fuck, he did. Despite the fact that this is a piece of shit movie, he did him. This movie is worth watching just for both Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia's performance, where it's not so much the Dungeons and Dragons where you have like Jeremy Irons overacting and like Thora Birch's underacting, where you have that contrast. It's the thing where like they're both good in the movie. It's just that Raul Julia is mastercraft theatrical actor, and you have Jean-Claude Van Damme, whose English is not great in the movie, but he does a great job, especially with some of the speeches. Like when the pencil pusher shows up and he's like, "We're gonna cave into like Bison's demands," and he's like, "What's going to stop Bison from kidnapping more people and demanding more money?" He's like, "Colonel, you lost your mind." "No, you lost your balls." Like lines like that, and there's just a thing where like Jean-Claude Van Damme, supposed to be playing Guile, who's like a U.S. Army officer or whatever, has the very fake looking U.S. flag on his bicep, and it's like, wow, it's like another movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme plays an American, but he has that really thick Austrian accent. Oh my god. Right. Oh, so yeah, let's get into a little bit of the plot, get into the detail. Basically, you have the fake UN forces, which is called the Allied Nations, right? Who were helping people in Shadowloo, which is a made-up country that looks kind of like Vietnam or Thailand or Indonesia. It's like what's it called? An East Asian looking country where Bison and his forces are taking over, and Bison's forces kidnapped a bunch of AN Allied Nation workers and some AN forces, right? Which there's a scene where you see him at the beginning of the movie fight, have unarmed combat with a bunch of random soldiers, and it just ends with him cracking their necks. And there's even a shot where where you have one guy on one side, one guy and Bison on the other, and then the title shows up. So it's like, oh my god, they made it look like the video game, kind of. Which not really. Right. Oh my god. Yeah, but what happens is that, he's watching TV, and Jean-Claude Van Damme's character, Guile, who is colonel in the Allied Nations Army or whatever, who's in charge of, dealing with Bison, gets interviewed by reporter Chun Li, right? Who's actually an actress from Macau, right? So she was also the voice of Mulan in the Mulan movies, or at least the first two. I don't know if she did the third one. Is there a third one? I don't know. I don't really care. Did they ever do a Mulan level on fucking Kingdom Hearts? If they haven't, that they should have. Right. I think, isn't Mulan one of the 7 Disney princesses or some shit? I don't fucking know. So yeah, what happens is he's being interviewed on live TV by Chun-Li, and then he's talking mad shit on Bison, and like Bison hacks the feed, and like they have like a video call, which is so fucking. Oh my god! And like he's like Bison's like, why are you disparaging fellow warrior? Warrior, you're you're a psychopathic tyrant or whatever shit he says, right? And then like he gives the in 2 days, if I don't get like whatever amounts of billions of dollars, I'm gonna kill all the hostages, right? So what happened? It cuts to Ryu and Ken, um, who are who are basically scammers trying to scam Sagat, who's played by Wes Studi, by selling them basically Nerf guns, right? And they get thrown in jail, and they get approached by Jean-Claude Van Damme to basically be his undercover infiltrators to infiltrate Bison's, organization through Sagat, who has Vega working for him, which is fun fact. Both Wes Studi and the actor who plays Vega, who was in that Western film I reviewed, The Missing, right, starring Kate Blanchett and Tommy Lee Jones, both Native American actors, but they don't play Native American characters. The one guy who plays like one of the Native American fighter characters, what was his name? Oh my god, I forgot the T-Hawk, right? That he's played by a Latino actor or Mexican actor. So it's like, wow, they have like two Native American characters, Native American actors in this movie, but neither of those guys are playing T-Hawk. So it's like, what the fuck? All right. So yeah, what happens? Bullshit happens. Raul M. Bison tries to fuck Chun-Li. Turns out Chun-Li and her camera crew, which consists of Hawaiian, E. Honda, and Balrog, right? Which Balrog was the boxer. With Chun-Li want revenge on Bison, which M. Bison tries to fuck Chun-Li, and that was a very funny scene where like she's in her sexy outfit, though it's red in the fucking movie, not blue for some fucking retarded reason, right? And he tries to fuck, M. Bison tries to fuck, Chun-Li even puts on like Hugh Hefner looking outfit, still has the red cap though, right? And she tells him her sob story, right? And how like he and his goons tried to wipe out her village, and they fought them off, but while they were retreating, they shot and killed her dad, right? And you have the epic scene where M. Bison's like, to be honest, I don't remember it. It's like, you don't remember? And you have the great speech where it's like, the day M. Bison came into your life was the greatest day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday. So a lot of people are like, why the fuck is that line considered so great? It's not so much the writing, but how the performance and the implication, right? The implication, he's living rent free in her head, and the day which was like a determining factor of her entire life, but for him it was just a weekday, right? That was just work. Okay, it's not a big fucking deal. So yeah, the movie has a lot of shitty action until like the end of the movie, where they actually have hand-to-hand, like one-on-one fights, where they kind of do the moves from the game, but they don't really do the supernatural like powers. Though Ryu does do a Hadouken, but it's not a fireball, it's like an invisible chi attack, which the matchups are obviously Guile versus M. Bison. You have who does Chun-Li fight? Does she fight anybody? I don't remember. You have Ken Masters versus Sagat, Ryu versus Vega, E Honda versus Zangief, who looks the most like his video game character, right? Which I forgot to mention that that Capcom wanted. There's a guy in the movie called Ken Sawada, right? Who plays like a random Allied Nations guy. He was supposed to be. He was Capcom's pick to play Ryu, but because his English was not great, it's even worse than Jean-Claude Van Damme's, if that's even believable, right? And so they just had him play like a random part, but he's actually in the Street Fighter, the movie, the video game, right? So yeah, I'll just wrap up this video because this review because it's getting long. The movie sucks, but it is entertaining. It's not a boring film, right? But in every fucking way, this movie is inferior to the best Street Fighter movie of all time, which is Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, which that song I was like doing a acapella to is Ultra K by KMFDM, which is from that film, which has in every fucking way that movie is superior to this piece of shit. Even has a fucking better soundtrack. Fucking Alice in Chains. I think there's even a Korn song, and there's that Ultra song. Awesome soundtrack if you have. So yeah, fuck this movie, but the movie's worth watching, especially if you watch it with friends. Peace.